welcome to Rev Sports. Well, what to say? Another not another, actually, once in a blue moon, humiliating loss for India, and it all comes under pressure. And what to say about the batting? I think that's been the biggest letdown in this series. I have with me Boria, Agni, and Bharat. Boria, let's go over to you first. What do you even say at this point? Are you clueless? Before we get to that Rishabh Pant dismissal.
I mean, we can debate till the cows come home about Rishabh Pant, but what about the other batters? I mean, it was horrendous. And take a look at some of the wickets. Take a look at the wickets. Rohit Sharma was that test match batting, for God's sake. The way Rohit Sharma was batting, the man doesn't trust his defense, and that is evident. He wasn't trusting his defense from ball one. He got a four. There were two fielders there. If you see when they were showing from the back angle, there was one fielder placed there, and there was one deep mid on as well. So they had a plan. New Zealand had a plan, and that is why Matt Henry reacted like the way he did when he got the wicket, because it was a plan. It was a set trap, and the Indian captain walks into that trap. Is that the way you approach? I mean, clearly he was trying to hit his way out of pressure, bringing the white ball approach into red ball. It's never going to work. Never on earth is it going to work. Second, Shubman Gill playing for turn, missing. I mean, that is why I keep saying Shubman Gill, whatever people say to me, doesn't look assured against spin. Whatever happens, I mean, notwithstanding the 90 in the first innings, he doesn't look assured. Virat Kohli, pale shadow of his past self. And 1 million trolls will come and say this, but Virat Kohli, the moment he comes out, you know he has the left arm spinner will have his number. The entire series, I mean, not one ball does that man look confident. Not one ball. He's mentally that the demons are there. The team is scarred. Sarfaraz Khan, look at him. After that first Test match 100, the second new ball quicks worked him out, and then the spinners have worked him out. Why is Sarfaraz Khan? I mean, what is this whole debate that we were having about giving Sarfaraz Khan opportunities? Does he look the part? When he walks out, look at a fellow's body language. When Pant walks out, look at his body language and look at Sarfaraz Khan's body language. Rank full toss, you hit it straight to Rachin Ravindra. Second ball or first ball. That shows how mentally scarred you are. And the rest of the batting, come on. I mean, the middle order and the lower middle order has helped India multiple times. Unfortunately, could not here. Rishabh Pant, different league. And we've said this 1 million times. Yashasvi Jaiswal and Rishabh Pant. These two fellows take them out. The rest of the batting, the less said, the better. Fragility is the word. Brittleness is the word. Unfortunately, Gargi, 2011 starting to repeat. We had won the World Cup in 2011 in April or March, April, and then from July for straight 8 months, 8 Test match losses, exactly 4 months after. History repeating itself now. 2024, you won a World Cup in June, July, and 4 months later, you lost three here, five in Australia coming up. It could well be the repeat of 2011 when you lose 8 on the trot. Because this batting, when it goes to Australia, you know, it is a scarred batting. Now we might debate why did Washington not come up the order? Why is Sarfaraz Khan there then? They were trying the left right. I mean, then Sarfaraz Khan, if he has to be protected, then he should not play as batter. One can keep going. There are everybody waiting here, but the truth is, whether Pant was out or not out, I am seeing a lot of these debates going on social media. The truth is, conclusive evidence, was it there, not there, but the rest of the batting, he could have won you with individual brilliance, but the rest of the batting is absolutely atrocious, and that is the grim reality of Indian cricket.
Atreyu, you've just witnessed the game. What do you even say about this? When we talk about the batting, what is the approach that India was going for? How do you explain this? Can you hear me, Atreyu?
Oh, yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was asking, what's the approach behind this? What we've seen, what were the Indian batters trying to do? What was the approach there?
See, it's difficult to explain in a few words. I mean, let me just go back to what Gautam Gambhir had said before the start of the series. That was 2 days before the match started in Bangalore, when he said that this Indian team is going to follow a high risk, high reward kind of a philosophy. Now, what exactly that means, I'm not very sure. But we saw that the risks were taken, and the rewards were not forthcoming. So whether we need a revision of the strategy or that kind of a line of thinking is something that only future will tell. But it's very clear that it hasn't worked over here. There are a couple of things. I mean, see, it was very simple. I mean, very very I mean basic errors in judgment played a huge role in the outcome of this series. To begin with, we have spoken about it a number of times. We will possibly speak about that again. But the decision to bat first in Bangalore was a I mean a monumental blunder. And after that, what we saw was the Indian team pressing the panic button. I mean, they thought that there is no other way of beating this New Zealand side other than playing on turning pitches, which we all know has backfired quite a few times in the recent past and not in the so recent past. Starting from England in 2012 at the very same Wankhede Stadium where Monty Panesar ran through the Indian lineup. Then Steve O'Keefe in Pune in 2017 and Hyderabad this year against England. So we have seen that turning pitches do not necessarily benefit India when they are playing at home because they have their own problems against facing spin bowling. To opt for something very very similar once again, I find was another very a blunder of a decision because you didn't trust your own abilities. These are the pitches where Indian players are very conditions Indian players are very familiar with. They can win matches over here if the conditions do not overtly favor them. So, despite knowing that, and despite having so many examples of success and failure in the from the past, to see them opt for the same strategy was quite surprising, and India paid the price. Gargi.
Bharat, Ishan, still talking about batting before we head to the other discussion of Rishabh Pant's dismissal. What did you think of this? You know, the shot selections that the batters went for, the kind of dismissals that we saw today, quite immature, don't you think, Bharat?
Yeah, I guess first of all the batters were not trusting their defense. When you don't trust your defense, then it always leads to such kind of dismissals. If you look at Rishabh Pant, the way he batted, he was not lunging. He was not lunging. He was not groping for the ball. That's a clear indicator that here is a batter was picking the length early. Because he was picking the length early, he was able to play late. None of the other batters, including Virat Kohli, if you look at him, okay, it was a second or third ball or whatever, but he was groping for the ball, lunging for the ball. It's a clear indicator that he is also not trusting his defense. Neither is Rohit Sharma. He has had problems against seam bowling in the past when he faced fast bowling in the recent past. That is so. Perhaps that is the reason he wants to attack every single ball that is facing in Test cricket, and that is not helping him either. So, if you are going to prepare a turning track like this, let us be fair on this. This is definitely turning track where you saw 5.65 degrees of average turn on day two itself. So if you are going to prepare a track like this, then your batters need to trust their defenses. This particular lineup, barring Rishabh Pant, and when he's playing well, SSC Jaiswal, when he doesn't try all those premeditated shots, none of them, I think, touch their defense. Maybe Washington Sundar to a certain extent. I think that's where the problem comes down to. When you don't do that, then it always leads to premeditation, harakiri, panic button being pressed.
Amit, Amit, what did you think of the batting, the pitch? We spoke about this in the last live, but now that India has lost the games, whitewash series from New Zealand, you get a clear idea of what the batting has been throughout the series.
See, Gargi, before coming to batting, what I think is that this is the most humiliating loss in the history of Indian cricket. This is worse than the summer of 42 in 1974. This is worse than the back-to-back whitewashes in England and Australia after 2011 World Cup because those happened away from home. Uh, I mean, going 3-0 down to New Zealand on your home patch against a side that have frontline spinners in Mitchell Santner, Azaz Patel, and Glenn Phillips. This is absolutely humiliating. An apology to the fans from the team management is due. Heads must roll immediately. They will not, because the selectors have already picked the team for the series down under. But going along, heads must roll. Coming to batting, this Indian batting is absolutely, see, this Indian team is overrated. They can't play spin on turners. They can't play they can't play seam on pitches where there is lateral movement. We have seen that in Bangalore. They can't. We have seen many a time in the past, be it indoor, be it Pune. I mean, be it in Bangladesh, they can't play spin on turning pitches. I wonder what this unit would have done if they are to face the likes of Sakalain Vaughan and Murli on turning pitches. They can't play Glenn Phillips and Isas Patel. So this is an over, and I think I, a regeneration is badly due. Uh, Several players have sort entered the twilight zone, and I think we need to look for a replacement. I mean, be prepared for more such results in the next couple of years.
Ishan, the biggest talking point throughout social media among the fans is obviously why prepare such a pitch when you can't bat on it. What are your thoughts on it?
Ravi, it's a fair point, but to be honest, we've mentioned this in the past as well. There was just some poor shot selection and making that was taking place. The New Zealand team was possibly not as prepared as well. The Indian team struggled because we're coming back to the same points here that they're not using enough application. Poor shots are being played. They lost their wickets casually. I mean, Sarfaraz's wicket, sweeping a full toss straight, into the fielder's hands. We're taught even in school and college cricket that you're supposed to play down the ground. You're supposed to understand the game and understand the wicket, get settled in, and then start playing your shots. This is a test match, for God's sake. You're 2-0 down. You have a chance of winning, and you're playing such shots. So, honestly, we can talk about the pitch being a turning wicket, and we didn't bat well enough. But New Zealand, at the end of the day, managed getting more runs. Right? That's a factor that counted most. If they could have gotten those runs, so could this. So could the Indian team. But the reason why we couldn't get over the line was poor shot making, lack of application, and giving away your wickets. Ravi Ashwin as well. That reverse sweep wasn't needed. Multiple times in the game, we were in a position to possibly go on and win. Why not see it all the way through? Why let go when you're getting there? It's almost like you're there, but you don't want to see your team through. Poor shot making, lack of decision making, and basically just a lack of application, Gagi. The wicket was tough. No doubt it was tough, but if New Zealand could have gotten those runs, India as well could have gotten those runs.
Yeah, that's an important point there that we've been talking about the pitch, but New Zealand was batting on the same pitch. So how did they get those runs? But now to talk about one of the most controversial things in the match, the Rishabh Pant dismissal. Boria, clearly there was no substantial evidence for it, but still, the on-field decision was overturned. What do you think about it?
Before that, I think Ogni is not yet spoken, so he can take this one. Shomadri Sengupta gives us a super chat which says Pujara will be missed in Australia. If age is the only parameter, then both Virat and Rohit should miss the Australian summer. Pujara in Test match cricket. Ogni, your thoughts before I take that question?
If you're not playing Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in Australia down under, then who are your replacements? I mean, you look at India A playing against Australia A. Ruturaj Gaikwad flop, Abhimanyu Vishwaran flop. The only two good players who have stood out so far, Devdutt Padikkal and Sai Sudarshan. You really want to unleash Sai Sudarshan in face of Stark, Hazlewood, Cummins and Lyon in the first test. And you really believe that Devdutt Padikkal will be up to the task of facing Cummins, Hazlewood, Stark at MCG or SCG. I mean, taking nothing away from these people, but these are very inexperienced people, and they're getting their first taste of conditions down under. So, see, at the moment you have no replacements in your bag. You need to play Rohit and Virat. They are your most experienced batter. But I mean, this is a horrific batting display. So you actually mean to say that Will Young can score twin 50s against Ashwin, Jadeja, Sundar? Mitchell can score an 80 against Ashwin, Jadeja, Sundar. We cannot score against Glenn Phillips and Ish Sodhi. And Ajaz Patel should be declared a Mumbai citizen and Indian resident immediately. If Virat can become one, a part-time English citizen, then Ajaz Patel should be declared. For the first time, India has been whitewashed 3-0, and I absolutely agree with Shomik that this is the most humiliating loss faced by Indian cricket. Not that 8-0 under MS in Australia and England, and I absolutely agree with Shomik that heads must roll. But since 1999-2000 against the series, against the South African series, is the first time we have been whitewashed at home, and for the first time we have been whitewashed 3-0 at home. So who are responsible? If you're hitting full toss straight to the catching people, no, if you are hitting a pull shot, and Matt Henry, exactly as Boriada said, Matt Henry pointed towards the second slip immediately after getting Rohit. So this was a trap, and you are not trusting your defense. You are going through with your shots, and GG coming in the pre-match press conference and saying draws in test match cricket is boring. This should have been an indication of what is to follow in the series. And GG says that we want to be a team that can score 400 over a period of 2 days. You cannot even score 147 against Ajaz Patel, Glenn Phillips, and Ish Sodhi without bowling a single over in the second innings. And then you go to Australia, you will fetch Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, and Lyon. God save this Indian team. And as far this super chat is concerned, I think it's high time that Cheteshwar Pujara should be drafted in. And Shubman Gill doesn't know where his off stump is, even after scoring 50s and 100s and averaging 50 in Indian soil this calendar year. He doesn't know where off stump is. I think a lot of times we've seen him dismissed in exactly similar fashion, spin and pace alike. So Cheteshwar Pujara, you need Cheteshwar Pujara in Australia, extremely evident from the 3-0 loss. And GG will be under extreme pressure, as I mentioned in the live before as well. He has got everything that he's wanted. He's got Tendesh Kate, he's got Mone Mokle, he's got Abhishek Nair, and he has got 2-0 in Sri Lanka, 3-0 against New Zealand in home conditions. So he'll be under no less pressure than Rohit and Virat down under.
I think all the points being made here, starting with Atreo, Shomik, Bharat, Ishan, Ogni, Gargi, all of them have a fair point. There is a lot of anger. There is a lot of frustration, and very rightly so. The frustration and the anger is fair, because these cricketers are worshipped as demigods. These cricketers are put on a pedestal. But this kind of loss, and I kind of agree with Shomik, I have not seen this kind of abject surrender in years. And where is the application? If you go ball by ball, which is a ball that looked unplayable? Rohit, no. Gill, no. Yashasvi Jaiswal, I'll still give it to him that, okay, fair enough. He tried to defend, and it could have been, that's the one dismissal. And Rishabh Pant. But the rest of the balls, come and tell me one ball that this was actually an unplayable delivery.
Especially the Sarfaraz one, Bodiya.
Sarfaraz, I mean, what worries me is not this. Shomik said next 2 years, and that's the point. That is the statement to take. Who is your replacement batter? Where is the cupboard? Who will play test cricket? Sarfaraz. Tons of runs in domestic cricket we now know. Abhimanyu Ishwaran. 150 times I've told Ogni that Abhimanyu Ishwaran against the moving ball doesn't stand a chance. And when I look at that cupboard, who is a batter in domestic cricket who tells me, except Sai Sudarshan, who looks the part to me? Otherwise, who replaces a Kohli? Who replaces a Pujara? Sarfaraz Khan, you will drop, you will bring who back? KL Rahul. Because that's your only option. Who has not delivered for a while? So one in a while, South Africa 100. So, when I look at Indian red ball cricket, you don't have spinners. After this generation of fast bowlers, you don't have fast bowlers, you don't have batters. What are we talking about? That is the real worry as far as Indian red ball. Fair enough. After the Tendulkar generation, all of a sudden, Ganguly gone, Dravid gone, Lakshman gone, Tendulkar gone. You had a Pujara walk in, a Rahane walk in, a Kohli walk in. Most importantly, tell me the three. Tell me 3-4 batters of similar caliber who are scoring dozens of runs, who look the part, who can replace a Pujara, a Rohit Sharma, a Virat Kohli, this generation. I don't see that. A Sarfaraz Khan, that fellow looks a complete fish out of water. Complete fish out of water. Poor fielder at forward short leg. Doesn't merit confidence. Yesterday also it was evident. Look at Will Young, look at Sarfaraz Khan. You have to block those balls. He's not the best forward short leg fielder either. And with the bat, after that first innings in Bengaluru, this guy doesn't look the part. He doesn't look a test cricketer to me. Domestic cricket, whatever he may have done, all those switch hits and all these fancy kind of shots, that is not test match cricket by any stretch of imagination. The guy doesn't. Bharat used the sentence, and I think Bharat is 100% right. He doesn't trust his defense that he tries to hit a second ball full toss there where Rachin Ravindra is placed. Come on, boy. I mean, and he's your best batter that we shout for. The truth is, painful 2-1s coming up. Brace yourself. Are we smelling the coffee? What is the next gen? Show me someone who replaces Kohli, someone who replaces Rohit. And absolutely true that Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma have been the touch me not plants of Indian cricket. Questions must be asked. I mean, the moment you ask a question of Kohli, the moment you ask a question of Rohit, you are faced with 1 million trolls who come and abuse you. That is the
Rohitians
pain
and
of social
Viratians.
media. Yeah, I mean, all Ians. The truth is, Virat Kohli is past his prime and past his expiry date. Rohit Sharma, as a red ball batter, is past his prime and past his expiry date. It's as simple as that. From recent evidence, if they rediscover themselves like Tendulkar did in 2010, magic, great. But against the turning ball, look, you in Australia against no movement, I can still see scoring runs from Kohli and Rohit. But against the turning ball, against or the moving ball in England, I don't see these fellows scoring runs because there are mental demons there. And I honestly think we are entering the worst 1 year of Indian red ball cricket. Started here, now Australia, and thereafter England, 5 tests. You are actually talking about 13 test matches, 3 gone, 10 more coming up. Forget World Test Championship, that's gone, finished. 5 test matches in Australia and 5 in England, folks. Brace yourself for a disaster striking. If you lose all 10, or you lose 8 or 9 or 10, do not be surprised, because this is a team that is brittle and fragile, and this is not going to be 2021. You don't have a Rahane to play that innings. You don't have a Kohli of 18 to play that innings. You don't have a Pujara to stand there for 1300 balls. This is a team that will not be able to stand the test. Is at this point in time a grim reality. If they prove us wrong, sport often has, we will be the first to say, oh, you know what, we were all wrong, and starting to shout when it happened.
And exactly what
Taking up
Boryada said,
on
the last sentence is key, Gargi. 1300 balls. You were looking for a release shot every third ball. Sarfaraz tried to hit that knowing that the target is 147 and he needs to be there at the crease. This is absolutely disastrous.
and taking up on Boria's point about who is the next generation, where is the next generation, where are the next test stars. I opened social media, and the first thing that pops up on my feed is a meme that says 1.5 billion Indian nation has lost 3-0 at home in cricket to a nation with a population less than Melbourne. So this is what people are saying online about India at this point, because honestly, it's a humiliating loss after everything that India has, all the facilities, richest board, yet this has happened. But Bharat, I was looking at some comments here, and there are some good ones. One point, someone brings up IPL retentions. The team's focus was completely lost. Everyone was busy thinking about IPL retentions and auction. Do you think this plays a part in there?
Oh, what to say? See, when a team loses, all these things come up. What I will say is, X or Y cricketer is a professional sportsman, sportswoman, and are expected to keep these things aside when you go out to play in the middle. So I'm not very sure about that, but yeah,
One
obviously.
minute, Bharat, 1 minute, 1 minute. Bharat made a very right point. The one fellow who has gone through the most amount of tumult as a basis of retention is Rishabh Pant. Did Rishabh Pant play badly? That answers this question. The most amount of tumult in this recent retention scenario is Rishabh Pant. Shreyas Iyer was the other. He's not part of your test team. Virat Kohli was retained. Rohit Sharma was retained. They know for months. Sarafraz isn't retained. What is this auction retention impact? No impact. If you actually, Shubman Gill always knew he would be retained. He's the captain of Gujarat. Nobody, if you go through this test team, Yashasvi Jaiswal, everybody knew he would be retained. Who did not know he will not be retained? The one fellow who did not know about his future was Rishabh Pant. He's gone into the auction at the very last moment, and he was your best batter. So to say auction and retention and IPL is basically trying to divert the blame and say, IPL. That's not the case. We have to
Even
deep dive
Shubman
and
Gill,
understand
Boryada?
what are the problems. Pardon me?
Shubman Gill, even Boryada, he always knew that he'll be retained.
Obviously, and that's the point I'm trying to say. Rohit knew, Jaiswal knew, Gill knew, Kohli knew, Sarfaraz knew he would not be retained. All of these fellows knew they would be retained. So where is the problem of retention coming here from? It doesn't. It actually doesn't. And the chap who did not know has gone ahead and performed the best in red ball cricket in Rishabh Pant. Simple. So it answers the question point blank. The question that I want to pose to all my guests, and Atru has watched Test cricket for 30 years, Shomik has, so have I. Bharat has been watching for 20 years, all of you guys. Atru, take this question. Have you seen a worst batting effort from India ever? 1972, I wasn't born. I don't know. But in the last 25, 30 years, have you seen a, let's put it this way, have you seen a team more scared or more mentally fragile with demons than this Indian side against spin? Atrev.
See, that is exactly the point that I was trying to make. Well, that is exactly the point that I was trying to make before the day's play started. I said that India's biggest enemy are the Indians themselves. It's not the pitch, it's not the New Zealand spinners. There are some, they are so low on confidence, and that there is so much of this lack of conviction in their own methods and their own abilities is so evident that it looked like they're going to crumble. I mean, I said before today's play started, that give a slight edge to New Zealand to win this. Why did I say that? Because I was watching the last few test matches. I mean, the last couple of test matches. In none of the innings, barring patches in test number one, test number two, barring patches, they never looked the part. And I would like to look at the bigger picture. I mean, why is it so? I mean, we have discussed about this in the past also, that this has become, they made things difficult for themselves by digging their own grave. In other words, rolling out this kind of pitches. That was not needed at all. And when you know that you are vulnerable, why do you go for that? I mean, I was shocked when I landed in Bombay and I saw in Indian Express newspaper, which quoted a Maharashtra Cricket Association official as saying that the Indian team management has requested for another turning wicket. I was shocked to see that, and it turned out to be true. So, I mean, this suicidal tendency, knowing that you are not very adept to tackle these kind of conditions, you still opt for that. So that means you're shooting yourself in the foot. So when you do that, I mean, you are basically closing out your escape routes. You are playing out of your comfort zone when you do not have to do that at all. There is no need to do it. So this shows that you are not trusting your own strength, which is play normal cricket on normal wickets. And this happened barely 6 months ago, 7 months ago. So that is more worrisome than their inability against spin bowling. I mean, you're not trusting your own strength. You're confused in the mind. So that is the bigger problem. I mean, yes. I mean, see, players will come. I mean, we can't say at the moment that who is going to be Virat Kohli's replacement, who is going to be Rohit Sharma's replacement. Can't say that. But players will come. Even if they come, if you give them these kind of conditions, then what is the point in those having those players come up the system? Guria.
I think a very important point made there by Atrev Shomik. Clearly, you are not trusting, and you're not just trusting your batters. Obviously, you're not trusting you are also not trusting your spinners. You are not trusting an Ashwin, you're not trusting a Jadeja, you're not trusting your spinners who have won you matches for close to
I
a
would like to say
decade.
something
You're
here.
actually, pardon me, Atrev?
I would like to make a point here.
Yeah,
I would like
please.
to, I would like to add to this point. I mean, you in Pune, this for the second test, you moved a kind of a pitch which nullified Jasprit Bumrah. India bowled 150 overs in that game across two innings. Bumrah bowled 14 overs. So you have made such kind of a pitch where your best bowler cannot be used. Effectively, you played that test match, both the Pune match and the Bombay match, with three bowlers. So what are we
And
trying to
just
prove? What are we? I mean, what are we trying to do?
Shomik,
Sorry.
just to add to that, Siraj did not even bowl in the second innings. Mohammad Siraj did not even bowl in the second innings. So you clearly got it wrong. If you don't even bowl Mohammad Siraj, the match
So his
finishes
role
in
was
two
the
and a
night
half
watchman.
wickets. He was sent as a night watchman, which was a comic relief. You have not
He
even
plays his
bowled.
now in his service night watchman.
From test number one, Shomik Chakraborty, winning the toss and batting in Bangalore, preparing the deck in Pune, here in Bombay, this is a comedy of errors on the part of the team management. That is what it is. More than what is in the cupboard and what is going on. You have nullified Bumrah. You have not used Siraj for 1 over. That fellow is sent as night watchman. He does not even bowl. Are you clearly? I mean, what is the thought process? And here questions have to be asked of Gautam Gambhir and that management. Whether it is Abhishek Nair, whether it is Gautam Gambhir, whether it is Morni Morkel, that entire Indian think tank, along with skipper Rohit Sharma, you have to ask questions that, boss, what are you doing? What is the kind of track? What is the thought process? It is good to come and say, oh, I made a mistake. But how many times will you make the mistake? Clearly, you've made the
It has
mistake not once, twice, thrice. Where is it going, Shomik Chakraborty?
it has been an elongated period of brain fade in the sense like earlier this year against England, India prepared the team manage the clear instruction from the Rahul Dravid led team management was to prepare good wickets because the team management backed the bowlers to take 20 opposition wickets irrespective of the conditions. They knew that we have Bumrah, we have Ashwin and Jadeja, we have Kuldeep Jadhav. We will take, irrespective of the conditions, we will take.
Rohit Sharma at his press conference, it is tough. It tells you nothing is easy in life. One day you're on a high, the other day you're not. Something like this will be a very low point in my career. I fully take the responsibility of this as captain. I have not been at my best. Shamik Chakraborty react.
Oh, I mean, that is sanity has prevailed in the sense after losing in Pune, he said, यार 12 साल में तो एक बार चलता है. So I expected him to say this time, अरे यार 3-0 तो 90 साल में एक बार चलता है. He didn't say that. Okay, credit to him for that. On a serious note, he has taken responsibility. He has to take the responsibility, and it would have been better if you would have offered an unconditional apology to the fans. Even in the searing heat in Bombay, 20,000 people turned up every day. I mean, because they love Indian cricket. They love Indian cricket. They deserve an apology from this Indian team. Let's see what happens. And coming back to your question, this Indian team, I don't know why they stop trusting their bowlers. When you have someone like Bumrah in your ranks, why would you stop trusting your bowling unit who have delivered time and again over the past so many years? Your batting has been vulnerable. Your top order has failed many times. You have been bailed out by the lower order, your wicketkeeper, your lower order. This that thing this didn't happen in the series, and that was the difference. And Akshar Patel bailing you out against Australia, a Dhruv Jurel bailing you out against England. Some Rishabh Pant stood up to be counted, but other than that, Ashwin, Jadeja, they didn't bail you out in this series. So that was basically the difference. Your top order has been doing this for time and again over the past few years. And tell me, just this is the question to you also, that tell me, apart from Rishabh, now that we know, I mean, Rohit and Virat have been walking into a sunset. Do you see any batsman in this Indian team who can who can stand up to be counted under pressure in real pressure situation when the chips are down? Do you have just one batsman who can put his hands up and say, I am there to take you home?
Atro, react to this on turning wickets. The question that you just asked. Playing on pitches we don't decide so much before. We played on good pitches against England. We felt this was the right thing to do this, do as a team in this series. I really can't make head or tail out of that comment. I tried to read this comment 20 times. I'm reading it once more for you. Clearly, your face says it all. Bharat, I will ask you the same question. So also Gargi. Playing on pitches we don't decide so much before. We played on good pitches against England. We felt this was the right thing to do as a team in this series. After
Yeah. See, effectively, what this does is it reduces the gap between the teams. I mean, the Indian spinners are obviously stronger than the New Zealand spinners. There is no doubt about that. I mean, the New Zealand spinners hardly play at home. Play at home. They only play when they're traveling and traveling to subcontinent. I mean. And by preparing such pitches, you make them look better than what they actually are. I mean, on a turning pitch, there is not much of a difference between an Ashwin and say Mr. Santner. But on a normal pitch, there is a hell of a lot of a difference over there. Where Ashwin's skill, Jadeja's accuracy, Kuldeep's versatility, those things come into play. By making these kind of pitches, India reduced the scope of that. I mean, they made Ajaz Patel, a Santner, look better than they actually are. Today, Glenn Phillips took 3 wickets of 4 wickets. I mean, he is not a test class bowler at all. Come on, I mean, giving 4 wickets to Glenn Mitchell.
Bharat, the point that Atre was making, all of us are actually making the same point. Why is it that people like us, everybody, fans, etc., everyone understands? And why is it you reckon after Pune also we did not understand? Pune, fair enough, we got it wrong. You prepared another Turner in Bombay. How does that kind of work? I mean, I'm trying to actually be rational. It is very easy to get emotional and angry and frustrated and start shouting. That is not the point here. What really went into the minds of these guys that, that he said we wanted to as a team? What do you mean you wanted to as a team? Why? What gave you the confidence to? What is the thought process, Bharat Ramraj?
I guess desperation to win a test. They just pressed the panic button and they went ahead and prepared a track that was even more spin friendly than the one in Pune. That's I guess that's the only answer one can give. They're in that kind of mindset where they're desperate to at least win one single test, and that's what I guess led to this. Obviously, it will bring spinners into play.
Bharat, on captaincy, starting with the toss in Bangalore, many tactical errors right through the series. I have not been at my best, and that cost us the series. Rohit Sharma, react.
Yeah, he's actually right. He's 100% right. Starting with the toss, damp wicket. Even on that particular day in the show itself, I had said that on a damp wicket, 20 out of 20 times you will go and bowl first. But that is where it started. If you look at some of the field placements, when William was batting, obviously was getting his bat well in front of the pad. So it's a clear indicator that you will need to have a forward shot like fielder. But whenever India had a forward shot like fielder, it was little too deep. They would have fielders at long off, lot of times. Singles, easy singles were given. Obviously, even if you look at tactical errors, Mohammad Siraj, that's obviously not his Rohit Sharma coaching staff as well. Mohammad Siraj being sent as a night watchman didn't make any sense. And obviously, wasted a review there. And then tinkering with the batting lineup, in terms of which position a particular batter should bat. That also wouldn't have helped all those batters. And yeah, then we come down to track. We went for the Pune track, which was almost a rank turner. And then you went for a track that had even more purchase for spinners, where the spinners were getting ball to done basically the middle of the pitch on day two itself. So that's basically a case of a team which I think is desperate for a win, and a panic button has definitely been pressed right after the first test itself.
Shomik, you wanted to make a point before I go to Gargi.
So two things. One is that there is no point bolting the barn door after the horse is bolted. And if Rohit, we all have seen that Rohit was not on top of his game. He was making tactical errors, starting with deciding to bat first on a spicy Bangalore pitch, then not bowling Bumrah during the Team Saudi and Rachin Ravindra partnership. There have been several tactical errors. But what was Gautam Gambhir doing in the dugout? What is he there for? He is the coach. If your captain is not on top of your game, it is your job to step in, have a quiet word with him, and tell him that, see, mate, you are going wrong in these areas. Just have a look at it. So, what was Gautam Gambhir doing? That is my question.
Yeah, that's what I
Arjun,
just.
he actually answered that. He answered that. He said on coaching staff, they have been good. They haven't got a lot of time. It is the players' responsibility to help them with results, to make sure we are aligned with their thought process too early to judge anything. So clearly, he's trying to step up and protect Gautam Gambhir and the rest of the coaching staff and taking the blame. But Shomik Chakraborty is spot on. Test cricket is not a 2020 format. You have multiple breaks, you have drinks breaks, you have enormous opportunity to send people in saying, boss, this is going wrong, do this. You have a luncheon break to recalibrate, you have a tea break, you have end of days play, you have 2 million chances to recalibrate, which wasn't done. So what is the role of the coaching staff here? The management got it badly wrong. So as far as Gautam Gambhir is concerned, a disastrous, and I use the word with a lot of, consciously, it has been a disastrous start to his coaching stint. If he doesn't turn this around and goes on and loses the Australia series badly, then I think it's gotten. And it will be one of the worst coaching stints ever for anyone. Nargiral?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of points to make here. First of all, on Rohit Sharma, being vulnerable, being honest, and taking a responsibility for the loss. Credit to him for that. But at the same time, what I think is, it's not as if Tom Latham was the most brilliant captain in this series. He wasn't. India didn't need to be that. India didn't need to be the best team in the world to win this series. They just had to make the right decisions, and that's where we went wrong. It's all our tactical decisions went wrong. When you talk about India, all the tactical decisions went wrong. Talk about that, winning the toss and choosing to bat first. There were multiple places where the mistakes or the strategies could have been rectified. And the second point is, I don't understand what Rohit Sharma means by saying that we don't decide so much before playing. What does he mean by that? What are they not deciding? Because clearly you have to. You can't just make all your decisions on the fly and expect them to work every single time. It has not worked in the last two matches. It did not work this time around. So credit to him for accepting all his mistakes. But at the same time, this team is not technically sound, not the management, not the team.
Looking ahead, final comments. We'll come back at 5 for a detailed postmortem because all of us are emotional at this point in time. Looking ahead at the Border Gavaskar Trophy, I'll take closing comments. I know Shomi can't join at 5, but Gargi, Atreo, Rohit, myself, we will also get Shubhan in the 5 p.m. show. He's also covering the test match along with Atreo. Atreo, you go first. If I look ahead at the Border Gavaskar Trophy, the time is about 2 weeks. That's all we have. The time is 2 weeks. The team leaves on the 10th and the 11th. Today is the 3rd. You have your test match on the 22nd, which is effectively 18 days from now in Perth. What can you do? What is India's recipe to turn this around? Because look, this is done. The good thing about sport is sport always gives you a second chance. There was a 2011, there were 8 losses, but then you also turned it around, right? It is not as if you did not turn it around after the 8 losses. You did. So what is it that this team can do in the next 19 days? Forget this now. It is done, dusted. New Zealand has whitewashed India is the grim reality that is there on the board. But it could be well worse if you don't turn it around in the next 19 days and go mentally scarred. What can India do, Atreo, in the next 19 days?
It around. They lost the home series against England after that, in the continuation of the same season. But there is one side of me which is tempting me to say that India will lose 5-0 in Australia unless there is weather intervention. Having said that, I also think that Indian team will be better off over there because they will have no control over the preparation of the pitch. They will not obsess, they will not lose their mind over what kind of a surface should be laid out and all that. That will be beyond their control, beyond their everything. So that is the only positive that I see because they will have to play according to the in the conditions provided. They will not create those conditions. So that is the only advantage that I see from this Indian team's point of view. and they will get away from this. I mean, this excessive heat and humidity and all that. Although Australia is not going to be particularly cool climate-wise, so the change sometimes changes work. I mean, we can't possibly explain how they work, but sometimes changes in location, changes in other factors they work. So that is hope. But I mean, when hope becomes your plan A, then you know how you are placed.
Shumik?
I'm hoping against hope. I agree with Akshay. I'm hoping against hope that it doesn't become.
Gargi, can you mute Arthur? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping against hope that it doesn't become 5-0. On the face of it, unless there is weather intervention, I think Australia will run this Indian team rugged, and 5-0, a 5-0 scoreline is on the cards. But then again, in sport, as you said, you never know. One inspirational innings, like the one Saurabh played at the Gabba 144, one inspirational innings, and the whole team might take heart from that, and the entire morale of the team can be lifted. I hope something that happens, but this porous batting order, this porous batting lineup doesn't inspire confidence. I don't know from where it will come, because Rohit Sharma looks awfully out of form. Virat Kohli looks awfully out of form, although I think he will enjoy pace. Spain has always been his bugbear. I think he will enjoy pace in Australia, and he will not make those technical tweaks that he has made in this series, like staying on the leg stump line, playing away from his body, trusting his hand more than his footwork, not going to the line of the ball. I think that he will not do there in Australia, and maybe one Jasasi Jaiswal innings, or maybe somewhere a spark will come. But that's again, your plan A has become hoping against hope.
I will take points from both these comments made by Atreyo and Shomik Bharat and come to you and Gargi. I actually take hope, exactly the word that Atreyo used, and tell you this, that our fast bowlers will come into play. If Australia roll out fast bowling conditions, all of a sudden you will see a Jasprit Bumrah run through an Australian innings, 5 wickets. And thereafter, if there is a Pant special or a Jaiswal special, India is in play. Exactly what India did with spin. If Australia try and think that they will roll you out with fast bowling and blow you off, it could sort of come back and haunt Australia as well. Because this Australian batting isn't the greatest either. We have seen that time and again. We have seen that with Indian fast bowling. If Jasprit Bumrah has the day of his life, twice, 2 days, he is capable of blowing the Australians away. Bharat Ramraj, do we have, are you seeing, what is the way? Is there a way? Because as Atreyo said, the point that I'm taking is India will not roll out conditions. Australia will. All of a sudden, that might just play into our hands. Bharat.
Yeah, you are quite right by saying that Jasprit Bumrah can come in and roll out the Australian batting lineup if they give a seam-friendly track at Perth. But the only thing is, you only talked about Jasprit Bumrah, but who are the support bowlers? Mohammad Shami obviously is not going at present. So Siraj is inconsistent. Prasidh Krishna has the height, hits the deck, but you never know if you hit him for 2-3 boundaries. I'm not sure I'm going to give a guarantee card that he will be mentally tough enough. And then Akashdeep obviously is improving, but is still inexperienced. So that is where the crux of the problem comes. India seem to depend a lot on Bumrah when it comes to their pace bowling units. And if you look at the batting lineup, yeah, there are problems. One more thing I just want to add is India had a practice game, I guess against India. Yeah, and they're not playing that. So you're basically telling me you're playing at the Wankhede here on a turner where there is 5 degrees of turn, 5.6 degrees of turn, and then suddenly in some days you're going to play in Perth where there will be a lot more bounce and maybe just enough sea movement. So planning doesn't really look great, but as it's all been told, it's sport. In sport, twists and turns happen. So maybe one great spell from Bumrah, one great batting performance, even maybe from Kohli. Suddenly he finds his gears on a track with a little more pace. Who knows? But it looks like an uphill battle coming up for the Indian team. Hopefully, it will be. It will be not. At least India will win a couple
We are
of
all
days.
clutching straws. We are all clutching straws. This is how it is now at the moment. Gargi Raut, one here, one there. Kohli finds touch, so and so. But the truth is, Perth, 19 days away. 19 days away, and India has said they will not play that practice match. They will rather practice. Who knows? I mean, that is a call that they've taken yesterday, that they will drop that practice game between 15th and 17th. They will only practice. Gargi out. Final thoughts. We come back at 5, but close the show. What is it about Australia? Are we staring a really bleak winter?
Oh no, this Australia scares me. Australia is scaring me at this point because uh, Australia, we know, is a quality side. So is New Zealand, and if India is performing this way and the mistakes that are being made, if we see a similar sort of performance, it's going to be very grim for India. But at the same time, uh, I've criticized the team all throughout the show, but at the same time, I'm very hopeful for Australia. I actually am. I think India, if there's anyone who can turn it around, it's India. And we've seen that before. We've seen India turn it around before. At this point, there's just the top order. I need the top order to fire, and I think that will fix like 80% of our problems. But I'm still hopeful for the Australia tour.
Gargi is taking hope from the 36 all out to turn around. Maybe people said 4-0, 5-0. She's taking hope from 36 all out to winning in Melbourne. Hope is that eternal kind of lifeline that all of us are living by. But Atro, I'm giving you 3 hours to come up with a recipe. 5 p.m. you will come up with a recipe. So will Bharat, Gargi, myself. Shomik has run away today saying, "Boss, I've got Bhaipota." So allow me not to do the 5 p.m. show and don't put me on a spot. But let's all of us come back. Seriously speaking, forget WTC. I mean, that one-off test match is not. We have always said that this Australia series will judge. Now it will judge India mentally also. It will judge Gautam Gambhir mentally. An IPL coaching stint and an India coaching stint are hell and heaven different. It will judge Rohit Sharma as a captain. You turned it around in white ball cricket after the disaster of 23. You did. To his credit, he did. Can he turn it around in red ball cricket? Otherwise, his legacy will be this, not that World Cup. So this will remain a black mark in Rohit Sharma's captaincy forever. The whitewash. No debate. Just like in MS Dhoni, 8 straight losses overseas, and I was part of all 8. I would turn up every day hoping fight, and I would curse myself and come back saying, I'm not coming back, and I would go. Hope. We all live by hope. At 5 p.m., we will come back. Postmortem. Can India, should India, how does India turn it around in Australia? For the moment, thank you very much for watching.